Okay, I will do it. My name is Martin Konvicka. I am associated professor at one small regional university specialized in conservation biology insects. Uh, and as a side hobby, I had studying or reading about Islamization or political happenings in Europe in general. For a few years, until 2009, I was completely inactive, or I would say sometimes commented something, that was it. But in 2009, I had very surprising meeting when I met one of Czech Muslim converts, a girl, who was trying to get out of the Islamic, then very small in Czech Republic, but still able to keep their people in by, how they do it, by force, by brainwashing, and so on. And we got close, and I helped her out. And during these conversations and connections, I realized that much of the Islamic, which we all knew from Western Europe or from, say, Middle East, have already been rooted here in Czech Republic, still small, not still, but already existing. This nasty behavior to women and illegal polygamy and abducting, and realizing that forced me somehow to act. And I was one of the founders of Facebook group We Don't Want Islam in the Czech Republic. Grew quite quickly. At the beginning, it was just discussing group without just outlet to discuss things and to spread information. But that changed somehow in years 2014, 2015, when we started organizing demonstrations and we also organized two very successful petition actions. The second one collected 250,000 signatures on paper. So 250,000 people actually signed that, which is quite a large number for 10 million nations, for a nation of 10 millions. And for some time, I was leader of a group called Bloc Against Islam, which unfortunately split at the beginning of this year. And now I am preparing for office. I'm running for senator seat in district Tabor in early October. And that's about. Oh, that's not so difficult as you would think, because only in Czech Republic there is about 20 companies or venues where you can actually lease or rent a camel. Zoos, hobby places, and the price of the camel, which is quite interesting, varies quite highly from say $300 to some $3 or even more $1,000, and the price difference is how much suitable is the particular camel for various tasks. The cheapest camel in the country, and camel which is cheapest because it cannot kneel when mounted. So that's why we have leather to mount the camel and to get that down from it. So already that was kind of comedia thing in the whole thing, and it was incredibly going out of the camel to the happening, to the performance. It was incredibly misrepresented in media, because in reality, which we all saw, was just street prank, street theater with people laughing and making photos and approaching us and asking what's going on. And only at the end there was a little bit brawl between a few Arab tourists and a few, I would say, hysterical women who were calling us xenophobes. But in the media, during a few hours or maybe minutes, there were news about terrible panic and ambulances driving around. Is completely untrue. And I would say that what media did is one of the biggest hoaxes in, say, Czech political history in the last 25, 30 years. Nothing happened at the square or in the center of Prague, but media portrayed it almost as real Islamic invasion. And now we are the villains and people who are provoking Islamic violence and so on, and nobody is talking about the real terrorists and real Islamists. And this is how the media work. I cannot fairly say nobody, because there are some video shots from I'm saying again, one single restaurant where supposedly, and according to the videos, there was some panic happened. Nobody found something, or people at least frightened. The weird thing is that this particular restaurant is about 200, 300 meters from the point where the theater was staged. And if you know Central Prague, there are hundreds of restaurants or bars or pubs in between. Nothing happened in any of them. So quite likely it was some provocation done either by police or by some, I would say, which is also possible, by some crazy multi-terrorists who were following our preparations and maybe staged that. But recently, this is investigated by police, of course. I know the whole situation, and because we were guarded by police all the time, and they were checking our faked arms, toy guns with us. They were checking the toy guns. They were checking our faked beards and so on at the beginning of the theater. Now it is in the best interest of police to really investigate it very properly and very strictly, because they had been charged with. I mean, the police forces were charged by some politicians. They had better to stop it at the beginning or not to allow it at all, and so on and so on. So there is something more behind that, maybe some, in intra-governmental skirmishes between various ministries, departments. Well, I don't even know, because at the theater, at the square, there was only one TV station and perhaps one daily presented. Although we, of course, invited everybody to attend. So I would not say that it was media as a whole, but it was two outlets, one private TV station and one actually newspaper, which belongs to Andrej Babiš. Such is a dark figure of Czech political life. He's Minister of Finances, and at the same time, one of the richest billionaires in the country, and at this time, very oligarchic person. And so it's simply Daily, which is owned by him, started the whole whole hoax. But in the same time, he is one of the few ministers who did not comment it at all. So what I think is that after the press owned by that guy started the whole affair, all the politicians felt like forced to comment it somehow, when everybody was saying that Konvicka is the evil person and so on. I mean, everybody from president to the heads of some minor parties, almost everybody commented how evil Konvicka is, except for owner of the Daily started it all. So my feeling is that we are seeing something like intra-governmental war provoked by somebody, and that the Islamic issue is actually a very the whole Islamic issue is not primary in this in this game. Of course, because that day is commemoration of Russian into Prague in August 1968, and we kind of it is of course day when many ladies are on in the city and so on, and we actually wanted to somehow warn that 25, it's not 25 years, it's 50 or how many years old invasion is not the biggest threat anymore. That the whole the political discourse is incorrect when it is still portrays the situation as some epochal struggle between East and West, between Russia and America and so on. We wanted to show the people that there are new enemies and new issues and completely new political map of the world, I would say. That's why we used that. That's why we picked up that day. Well, it was absolutely effective, but in other way that we originally thought. It's already more than 1 week, and my name is in all media, newspapers, TV show, simply everywhere, and I am being portrayed as a person, enemy of the state, and so on. But what is effectively happening is classical case of overkill. People don't trust me anymore. People are asking, where are videos of the panic? Where are the wounded? Where are the witnesses? And so on and so on. And so people are waking up about the big media lie. And in the same time, it is incredibly cheap public relation before for the income for the Senate elections, which are October, because a few weeks ago not many people actually knew my name. Only people who are from opposition groups or are really follow the situation with Islamization of Europe. Nowadays, almost everybody in this country knows about the evil Konvicka, and of course, I cannot estimate what will happen during the elections, because the feelings are, of course, somebody likes that and somebody opposing a lot, and still some people trust the media and or believe the media, but the climate is changing.
And why do you feel the climate's changing?
Why do I think so? This is what PR specialists, I believe, call overkill. When you lie too much about some, start asking questions. Like again, the Staroměstské Square in Prague is probably the place with a high number of cameras and with thousands of tourists with cameras and mobile phones and so on. And it was holiday Sunday afternoon with really heavy traffic there. I mean tourist traffic, and no video of panic has appeared 2 weeks. And so people people start questioning, what the hell is that? They are telling us about panic and catastrophe. Well, it is quite tricky here. We have a friend, Miloš Zeman, who is almost as Islamophobic as Robert Spencer, I would say. He really understands what's going on, and he's warning about migration crisis and even about Islam. He's actually using that word sometimes. He's warning a lot, but unfortunately doesn't have much powers in our constitutional system. And then we have government, which has the executive powers, and the government is just a bunch of traitors. The three parties who are members of the government have a little bit different positions. Social Democrats, classical left, they are not recognizable from, say, German Greens. They are completely pro-multiculturality and really supporting migration and so on. Then there is the Minister Babiš, Hnutí Ano, which is verbally against immigration and criticizing it and so on, but efficiently there are always always dealing with the prime minister, and then there is Lidová strana. This is a Christian party, Catholic Christian party, and this party has a very ambivalent position and is very pro-Brussels and pro-EU, which efficiently means pro-Islamization. Unfortunately, there is not an efficient opposition, which would be distinctly anti-Islamic or anti-EU or anti-Brussels. So basically, the parties which are now in parliament can do very little because they are, the bad and the worse. I mean, the coalition and the opposition. But they are losing in polls and pre-election polls. And what is a good situation is very Islamophobic atmosphere among the population. I would say maybe even more than in Hungary or in Poland. I'm now being optimistic, maybe a bit. We are in this country quite regularly organizing big demos, well, big, few thousands people, but quite regularly in front of in centers of cities with waving the flags with the crossed mosques. People wear the badges with crossed mosques. People are not really afraid to talk about it under their own names. And I mean now not just ordinary people, but even professors, even school teachers, even some journalists. So in some Czech newspapers, but I mean even in high circulation newspapers, you can read really Islamocritical articles, and the can change the whole playground very radically and quite soon. We have now several years with one election per year. The Senate and the regional government in October is the first. Then there will be general elections in June next year. Then a district election, municipal elections in autumn next year, and so on and so on. So the political map can change quite dramatically.